welcome to the Living Hope Thought for the Day. Today's thought for the day comes from the book of Proverbs. In a previous thought for the day, we thought about the Psalms, and we talked about them as the hymn book of the early church, full of songs of praise, full of reality. When we come to the Proverbs, again, we have so many wise sayings. It's quite likely that King Solomon wrote most of these. And it was at that season of life where God was giving him revelation and insight. And he was really grasping things that otherwise might have been hidden. And he brings such practical and clear advice. Some of it's very, very simple, very, very straightforward. And some of it requires perhaps a little bit more thought. But when I think of the Proverbs and when I think of the warnings and the difficulties that can come, what I understand very much is this, is that the Lord can be trusted. You can rely on him. And this is what the Proverbs say. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and don't lean unto your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will direct your paths. This is a very powerful statement. It's in Proverbs 3 verse 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Don't lean on your own understanding. Don't depend on yourself. Acknowledge him in all your ways and he will direct your paths. We know another key thought in the Proverbs is the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And to fear God means that we're willing to trust him. To fear God means that we're willing to put him first. We're willing to receive his verdict above every other verdict. We're willing to submit ourselves to him. In all your ways acknowledge him. That's what the Proverbs is saying. Just recognize the hand of God, the goodness of God, the love of God. Recognize the judgments of God. They are pure and they are true. Recognize that he is an infallible God. Recognize he never gets anything wrong. Recognize that when your hand is in his hand, when you're walking in his steps, you'll be in a place where you will benefit and receive instruction from him. But we have to make that decision to set our minds and set our hearts on trusting him. It's a very, very important principle. In fact, this particular proverb was given to my wife and I when we got married. The pastor who was preaching that day preached a sermon based on this verse, and a dear man who was registering the wedding, when we went through to make the necessary signatures, this man, he said to us, Proverbs 3, 5 and 6. And we thought, well, he's an elderly man. What's probably happening is he's reminding us of what the preacher said in the service. But it stuck in my mind that, was that really the case? When we came back to that church a week or so later, we approached him and we said, you remember that you said to us, Proverbs 3, 5 and 6, were you quoting the preacher or was there something else? And he turned to us and he said, I didn't hear the preacher. He said, I was not aware of the sermon, but when I prayed for you that morning, God gave me that verse for you. So for my wife Elaine and I, it's really special, and we've proved it to be true. Over 45 years of marriage, we look to God for more, but we have seen, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not to your own understanding, in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. God bless you too.